Hey there, and welcome to Comedians on Technology, People, and Drugs. As always, I'm your host, Sam Joseph, and today we're very lucky to have comedian Dimitar Ilchev with us. Hey, Dimitar, it's great to have you on the show.
Hey Sam, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. And Dimitar, you're a very funny person, and I think, our many millions of listeners. I mean, I previously joked that we only have one listener, but no, I think almost everybody in the world is listening and just jumping up and down and like wanting to know about your comedy origin story. I mean, what was it that you were bitten by a radioactive hawk and became the hawk comedy man flying around and sort of like regurgitating jokes into people's mouths? How did it all kick off?
It happened almost accidentally, actually. I don't know. Probably you can guess from my name or and the accent. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm
Mm,
from Bulgaria, but I lived abroad for a while. Since 2006, or actually between 2006 and 2018, I lived in the States. So I lived in
mm,
Chicago, and I was a truck driver for many years.
mm.
And it's getting lonely being in the truck all day. But I thought I should be socializing more, but I had no aspirations to be a stage performer or anything like that. So it happened almost by accident. A friend of mine who also isn't an actor, he stumbled upon an open casting for some Bulgarian movie project. Some This lady was directing a movie. She was in film school, so it was a project that she had to do a film. And so my friend got in there, and he got casted in one of the roles. So he felt good about himself and thought maybe I should, maybe I can make it to Hollywood, but I need some formal training. And so he found a studio in Chicago, and he wanted to sign up, and he asked me to come along. And initially, I had no interest in that, but then I thought maybe I should get out of the truck, out of the house a little bit more. And also, my friend told me, actresses usually they're pretty hot, and I
Mm.
said, yeah, I suppose I can give it a go. And I joined him for this acting class, but I didn't know why I was there. And on the first class, the teacher was asking everybody, "Why did you sign up for this class?" And I thought, I don't know. I uh I kind of I wanted to be a comedian. At the time I was listening to a lot of comedians. I discovered stand-up comedy a few years prior, and I was really into comedians like Pablo Francisco. He was doing these crazy voices and high energy, and Russell Peters, he was talking to the crowd all of the time. So I thought this is amazing, but I never thought that I have the skills required to do this. But eventually I listened to a radio show where a guest was Louis C.K.
Right.
And I Googled him afterwards, and I started listening or watching his specials, anything that was on YouTube. And I thought something about his style of comedy spoke to me. It was pretty much the way he would simplify things, and he didn't use very pompous language or anything like that. And for an immigrant guy whose English wasn't on a stage level yet, I thought maybe but this was like a subconscious
Hmm.
process. That maybe this is, if this is comedy, if this still works, maybe I can do something like that. I can't do the voices, I can't do the crowd work, but I can talk about myself, with honesty. And I like the weird subject matter that he touches on. I mean, I'm interested in general in human behavior, and especially the weird one, right?
Hmm.
And so when the teacher asked us, I thought I would tell him the truth. Maybe I should be a comedian, I said. And he goes, "Well, that's great. Have you tried comedy?" And I haven't. I told him I'm too scared to do it. And he was very encouraging. He goes, "Hey, it's okay. It's not heart surgery or anything like that. You can go and fail, and then nothing's gonna happen. So just go ahead and try it." And in Chicago, there's this very popular improv school called the Second City. They
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
I knew about them, but again, I had no thoughts about studying there. But I saw on their website that they had a stand-up comedy class, and I thought maybe I should sign up. But in order to sign up for the class, you have to complete some of their improv
Hmm.
classes. Well,
Hmm.
and so I just signed up for improv, and I liked it a lot. And I ended up not taking the stand-up comedy class.
Oh.
What I did instead was I went to an open mic, and obviously it didn't go great, but it wasn't horrible. I went through it. I didn't stumble. And the cool thing that happened afterwards is one of the other comedians saw me and he shook my hand and said, "Hey, man, welcome to the club."
Uh-huh.
And I thought that's great. These people are, accepting. They're not weirded out by my accent or the imperfections in the way I speak. And that kind of got me going. And so what I started doing is I was studying improv. I loved improv a lot, and I was also doing stand up on a regular. I was going through various open mics.
Mm, mm,
And generally, I became very interested in all of the performing arts. I took a drama class, I took a sketch writing class, voice and speech class. I thought even if I want to focus on being a comedian, I think it would be good for me to know all the other avenues, and this will only help me perform better, right? So
mm.
the prop gives you the confidence to be on stage. The acting gives you kind of uh, the intent when you deliver your lines, and just practicing stand up and writing gives you the ability to keep going on stage. So this is how I started, and I did this for about 5 years. And in 2018, I decided I'm moving away. I'm moving back to Europe. I decided I'm going to move to England because spend a lot of time away from my family, and
Mm,
in America things weren't going great for me. And that,
mm.
the stand-up thing was fun, but I never got to a really, professional level comedian. I didn't perform at the clubs where they pay you money.
Right, right.
I was kind of on the level of bar shows and still doing open mics, and but I had a lot of jokes. I was writing a lot. I gave myself this challenge. So every time I go to an open mic, I want to have a new jokes. So even
Hmm.
if I'm doing 3 or 4 minutes, I want this to be brand new material. Doesn't matter if it fails, if I get laughs, I'll just remember which joke did that, and I'll put it in the back of my mind.
Uh,
Um, and so before I left America, I thought I should. I don't know if I'm going to do stand up again because I'm going to a new place.
mm.
I'll have a different set of priorities. Uh, and I want to have a memory of my time doing comedy, right? And so I decided to self-fund, self-produce a comedy show that I would deliver an hour of stand-up, and I would film it, and then I'll have it on the record. And if it
Mm.
fails. If it goes well, maybe I'll put it on the YouTube or something like this. And so 2 days before my flight back to Europe, I booked myself a small studio theater, maybe about 50 seats. Invited all my friends, their friends, and I think I filled the room with
Oh.
50 seats. And I did the show. I had an opening act. I had a host. So my friends you know in the business were very supportive and came and did the opening for me and the hosting. And so I did the show, and it didn't suck. I mean, it wasn't great, but I didn't fail it. I did the 1 hour, and people seemed to enjoy it at the time. Uh, and really, this is one of the most memorable moments in my life because I wasn't supposed to be able to do that. I delivered 15 minutes of material at most at one sitting, and then I was able to do an hour again without stumbling, without forgetting my jokes, without using notes. And so that experience kind of gave me confidence that if something is hard and it seems like you're not able to go through it, just do it, and
Mm.
see what happens. Just if you fail, you fail. Don't think about it. Just do your best. And yeah, I have a show. I'll plug it later on before before we wrap up. But currently, I'm currently in Bulgaria. This is where you're catching me. I've
Yeah.
lived in the UK for since 2019, and I did some comedy in the UK. I did some stage performance in Bulgarian in front of the Bulgarian community. I was part of two uh, quite sizable folklore concerts. Folklore meaning folklore dancing and music, which is typical for Bulgaria. Uh, and I was kind of the comic relief in between some of the dancing and songs. We did some sketches, me and another actor from this popular comedic movie back in the day. Um, and people were very receptive to it. They quite enjoyed it. So I did two of these concerts in the UK. And also I did some stand up. I wanted to check the open mic scene. Obviously, no matter how many years I've done this in America, no one knows me. And and the London scene could be challenging in terms of uh, how you book your shows. You know, in America, you just walk into an open
Mm,
mic, sign your name, and you're on the list. Here, you have to plan all of your appearances, which it could be challenging, but you can go through it. I quite enjoyed it. I found the crowd is totally different than the American crowd, a lot more diverse, and the lineup of comedians is also diverse. I saw a lot of people who are not from England. They were doing stand up, and I thought, man, I in America, I thought I was very unique for being an immigrant, you know, doing
mm.
comedy second language. But in Europe, people were doing it, and you know, it's great. It's great that stand up took off. You know, maybe started getting very popular maybe 10 years ago, and now it's everywhere, which is great on one hand. On the other hand, it's there's way too much for you to see, so it's really hard to find out who's good, who's not. They have to go through, you know, vast libraries of shows on various platforms to find new comedians that you enjoy. But it is great. I obviously I'm not doing it professionally, so I had a different job that I left, and I'm in the process of finding a new one. So I thought in that time I want to come back to Bulgaria. I want to spend more time with my family here, and I'm planning back coming. I'm planning to come back in the upcoming months once I find something, and I wanna kind of I think one of the reasons I came to this show is to kind of hype myself up to go, yeah, you're still a comedian. You should
Yeah.
go back and do it, and maybe I can start doing it more and more often, and maybe who knows, maybe I'll get paid one day. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, absolutely. That's the dream. Well, what a wonderful story, and I'm really excited. Very, I mean, I just went to Chicago for the first time as a comedian. Well, I say as a comedian. I mean, since I've been doing comedy regularly, and then I went and did like five of these like walk-in open mics that you mentioned in 4 days, and really enjoyed that and seeing the different style, exactly as you're describing the difference between the US just sort of walk in like 50 people in the night each doing 3 minutes versus the UK somewhat
Mm,
carefully booked, like more like 15 people or less
right.
doing their fives. Yeah, it's really interesting seeing the different stuff. And amazing story there with you, as you say, like you sort of booked your, you kind of like produced your own 1 hour comedy special at the, before you were leaving the States. I mean, good,
Right.
respect for getting that stood up and getting that done. That's wonderful. Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, I mean, usually I've got to sort of dig and dig, but you laid it all out for me there. I guess just going back to, that first, it sounds like if I got that right, that you
Mm,
kind of like your friend was like, oh, I need to do an acting class, come along with me, and you kind of that was sort of opening your eyes to the idea that, oh, I could do some classes in things, and then you were sort of watching comedy and enjoying comedy, and
mm,
then like through the Second City, I mean, your plan was to take their stand-up course, but you did the improv stuff,
yeah.
and but even just off the back of the improv stuff, before even doing the stand-up course, you were excited. Like, I guess just from the experience of doing the improv, you were like, I'm going to try this. I'm just going to go to an open mic. Can you talk us through that particular, you know, what happened when you were kind of like, okay, I'm not going to wait and do the stand-up course. I got to go to an open mic now, and that first gig, the emotions, because that for some people that's like they could never do, right? They feel like that's the insurmountable barrier that they could not pass. But what was it that gave you the confidence to go and do the open mic before you'd taken any stand-up class?
Interesting. Hard to tell, really. So the main thing was I didn't want to wait, right? So because
Uh-huh.
taking the required amount of courses in improv would have delayed me by about 4 months,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and and I've already decided I'm gonna try it. Otherwise, why am I even signed up and paying for this class if I
Right.
don't try it? So for me, it's more of a like an efficiency issue. I just want to get this over with.
Sure.
And once the main thing is the improv classes were everybody was so supportive, right? Everybody's very high energy. We're playing games, and no one cares who I am, where I come from. They just accept me as equal, which is what I wanted. I don't want to be held, nobody to hold my hand and go,
Right.
oh, it's okay. He has that thing. He doesn't get the English. I was like, no,
Uh,
no, I want to get in it. I'm
Uh-huh.
to some extent competitive. I want to show you that I could be as good as everybody else.
Mm.
But I was fully aware that comedy didn't come. I mean, I guess it came naturally to me because I was funny with my friends,
Mm.
but I was on the shy side. My personality is I'm not very social,
Mm.
and, and so what kind of propelled me forward was the supportiveness of the people in my class, and especially the teacher who, you have very high respect for everybody who teaches you anything. And the teacher once told me, you have the right instincts, so you should keep going.
Mm.
And just this little sentence, that's it. That's all I needed. Okay, you are on the right track. You have something in you that you can make work. Now, the actual stand-up performance, the open mic. So I signed up. First, I asked a friend of mine if she wants to come with me. I didn't want to do it alone. And what really gave me the confidence to actually do it, I went, it might have been a week before or 2 weeks before, I went to the open mic that I've selected just to watch
Oh, really? Okay.
because I wanted to see, all right, if everybody's amazing, then I'll be super scared to try it. But if everybody sucks, or the majority of them suck, then I'll be just one of the bunch. It doesn't matter if I suck, right? And so I went there, and most people suck. It's an open mic. I didn't, whoever hasn't been to an open mic, they don't know. But everybody who's been to one go, yeah, yeah, most people suck. Even if you do it for a while, if you try new material,
Right.
gonna suck to some extent. And so when I saw this, and I thought, okay, everybody sucks. Then I can suck too. Now
Uh,
I have confidence to do it. So my confidence didn't come from some inner belief in my abilities. It came from okay, we are on the same level here. So there's no shame.
right.
And and so I did it. And again, I touched on this just a second ago. Is my I didn't want to perform from the perspective of this outsider who, oh, he's so brave to try it. I want to be a comedian, just comedian like everybody else. I don't want to be distinct like, oh, this is that type of comedian, or this is the comedian who has this act talking about how he's from another country, so he doesn't know things. That wasn't interesting to me.
Mm.
As I said, I was listening to Louis C.K. a lot, and his style appealed to me. I thought I can go through my material in similar fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And for my first ever performance, I was just discovering George Carlin.
Mm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
getting into it, and George Carlin, like rhetorically, on a different level,
Mm.
very high, like language skills, the whole oratorial. He's unattainable for me. But I like the subject matter. I like how he would dig into this dark places, and he'll make light out of something that might be tragic for some people.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember my first 3 minutes were, I don't remember the jokes because I never did them again, but I think I might have gotten one laugh. So calling them jokes,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
rated. But it was something about people who commit suicide. I thought that most of them are middle class or upper middle class, but you never see homeless people committing suicide. So I was digging into this idea of what is it with human psyche that when you're really miserable, you find strength to keep going, but when you're satisfied at some point, you go, no,
Mm.
it's too much. Things are terrible. So I was kind of digging into this idea, and I think the joke revolved around something like you should. This is a big decision, if you're gonna kill yourself, so you might as well check with a friend. And so I reenacted the whole thing. The guy standing on the edge of the bridge, about to jump, and goes, "Yeah, let me call my friend." So he calls his friend, but then his friend doesn't pick up, and it goes to a voicemail, and the voicemail was just full of negativity. The guy goes, "Oh, I can't pick up the phone because I'm working long hours again. I have a I have to pay for my house and my wife, and it's just a terrible day. Please call me tomorrow." And so the guy who's about to check with his friend, he just got a confirmation that yeah, things are bad, and he just
Yeah.
jumped off the bridge. And this was the ending. So this is the whole thing, and I never did it again because I thought I don't know if I can make this funnier. I enjoy though digging into that human behavior
Hmm.
that is perceived weird or even taboo
Hmm.
or disgusting, because I feel that everybody is has their demons. There's
Hmm.
darkness in them, and people of course don't show this in public. We behave in a certain way. We have uh, what you call it, manners
Hmm.
that we hopefully have been taught, and this is good for society. We shouldn't be going crazy with everybody. It can't be your disgusting self in front of everybody, because no one's gonna hang out with you. But we have to acknowledge that we have that in us, and for that reason, I thought if I talk about someone doing disgusting things, we can judge them a little bit, but then acknowledge, "Well, yeah, I'm also probably doing some disgusting things. They're just not that, but it might be equally disgusting for someone else." So this is I guess, my philosophy for comedy is I'm trying to find weird behavior and uh, and try to explore it. And sometimes I have some success. Sometimes I don't. Uh, One thing I would say, I never had people getting mad at me
Mm.
for the things that I say, because oftentimes my humor is self-deprecating. So I usually turn things on me instead of really criticizing others. Maybe this is, or maybe I just caught the right time for comedy just before whatever 2016, whatever the time was when everybody started to get really upset about things that comedians say. And to this day, I don't understand why you would get upset. You can just not watch it.
Mm, mm, indeed, indeed. It's well, I mean, I like what you're saying there about acknowledging I mean, the darkness. I think, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about the art form is about being able to sort of take some aspect and hold it up and see if other people relate to it. And that obviously that can happen in other art forms with music and like painting and what have you. But there's something I mean, maybe it's just a reflection that I'm very like word and language based, but the yeah, I guess it all depends on like I often find, I mean music I can find quite I can find quite moving, but it's not necessarily present. I guess it might be with some song lyrics or whatever, but there's something, unvarnished about the stand-up comedian saying, "Hey, this situation, I felt this and this. This guy, what is he doing?" And so it's great. It's great fun. I love it. And well, and thanks for sharing as you were there, the like the sort of the step by step to the that first open mic. Like yeah, you'd seen it the week before, so you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fit in here. And I guess also like you were saying, you had already like you'd made the decision before you were taking the improv classes, this is something I'm going to do. And I guess that's, for some other people, they might be more like, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? Shall I not do it? Shall I not do it? But yeah, you kind of made that decision. And other things that you were saying, I mean, like with that 1 hour thing, it sounds like you're the kind of person that you make a decision to do something, you follow it through, right? That's kind of your thing.
I think so. I like to think that. Yeah, I mean, you have to commit. If you're on a fence, just make a decision, because otherwise you're never gonna get any progress with anything. And this is really what improv also taught me is commit to the bit, they say.
Oh, commit to the bit, man. Oh
which,
yeah.
which in improv, of course, there's no stakes involved, but the thing is, in improv, because you have no script, for those who don't know what improv is just sketch show with no script. People make
Right.
it up on the spot based on a word or something that the audience suggests. very similar to how little kids play. You know, they have no idea and they just go in and one throws an idea, the other one throws another idea, and they just go along with whatever the first person said. And this is what improv is in a nutshell, right? And but the thing is, if you want to do this in an appealing way for the audience, you can't be second guessing yourself because the audience they get your vibe. If you're not confident, it makes them feel uncomfortable, and so they're not enjoying the show. So whatever you gotta do on stage, you have to do it confidently, even if it's the dumbest thing, or you attempt the most ridiculous task that you've never even seen before. You do it as if you've been doing this your entire life. And the more ridiculous you are, the more funny it would likely to be to the audience. So, and that's what committing to the bit means. Once you make a decision on stage with improv, go through it. You commit 100%. And and I think I find this to be a very useful tool to have. Yeah, a lot of times, depending on how important that decision is, we hesitate, but you're allowed to hesitate a little bit, think about it, but
Hmm.
eventually make up your mind. You either do it or you don't do it. And if we talk about drugs later, I'll expand on that do it or don't do it
Yeah, yeah.
part.
Well, I keep telling my kids they've got to do it or not do it, but I know they're not sure what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, I mean, wonderful. Love it. Let's take us into our second question, which is how is technology affecting your life and your comedy? And as I pretty much always say at this point, by technology, it's a really big tent. Like, I'm using pen and paper here to take notes as we talk, but we're using Zoom. We like chat over email. All of it. There's like the latest AI models. There's social media. Memory techniques, like for like working through your set. The memory palace is a. All of these things are technology in my book, and I'm really interested how whether it's a simpler older technology or the latest technology is affecting how you live your life and how you do your comedy, which is a subtext for me to like I want to understand how you make things funny. But yeah, are you a big tech head or are you all stone tablets?
I like tech. Well, actually, I studied computer science in uni.
Oh, cool.
So and that was 20 years ago. So for a while, I've been interested in technology. My favorite part is handheld devices. I don't know where my obsession with those comes from, but I guess when I was a young kid, I was often sick, and my mom would take me to the doctor. And I'm in Bulgaria, at least when I was young. You don't have an appointment. You just show up and wait in line for the other people to go through the doctor, and then it's your turn. So I had to stand or sit, in front of the doctor's office for a while, and I never had anything to do. I was bored. And I was thought if I had like a device that I can play with, like a video game or something, that would be amazing. But I never had any. And so when the first mobile phones started to come along and they start having like colored screens and whatnot, that was the best for me. Oh, I can listen music through this. I can play games, and now I can watch videos. And with the smartphones, seemingly everything that I ever wanted became true. And so to this day, I find that smartphones amazing. I don't take them for granted. I just love it. I whatever device I have, I keep it um, safe. I don't drop my devices. I take care of them for years because to me this is amazing. It gives me a lot of ways to pass time. And especially when I lived in England, I would travel back and forth to Bulgaria, and it's a 3-hour flight on Wizz Air, and what are you gonna do during these 3 hours? So I always have some podcast that I pre-downloaded or a movie in my phone, music, and so from that aspect, I loved it. In terms of comedy, my phone is with me, and I have an app that records the audio. So I'll turn the recorder on, and I'll put the phone in my pocket, and I would record my sets to hopefully listen to them afterwards, which I rarely do,
Hmm.
to pick up what worked, what didn't work, or if I forget some jokes, maybe I have an archive that I can find something uh, later on. So in terms of comedy, I'm using the devices for that. Um, back when I was active in the United States, I also did some podcasting. I had a podcast for 6, 7, 8 months, and again, the tech made it possible. At the time, every comedian seemingly started having podcasts, so I thought, "Yeah, I should probably do it." And and in terms of social media, for comedians, it's always important to promote themselves. I'm not very good at that. The main reason is that I'm not very interested in it. I never really went into comedy for the fame. I just wanted to be good. So those people who get what I'm doing, they will just give me the respect, and they will like me. And those who don't get it don't get it. So I'm not trying to mass appeal to everybody, and for that reason, I guess subconsciously I avoid doing a lot of promotional stuff or just goofy videos just to tell people, yeah, I'm still around. No, if all I want to know is, all I want people to know is if I'm performing somewhere and if they're interested in coming to see me, please do. Or if I record something and I think, some people might enjoy it, I'll put it out there. But this is, yeah, my relationship with social media is I check it, but I don't get too involved. I just, it's not interesting to me.
Hmm.
But tech wise, I love tech. I mean AI. I use it for research, for to learn things. I think it might be a good tool. You have to use it correctly. People probably would start using it for creating new scams on the internet, trying to lure you to spend money because people don't want to work. They want an easy paycheck. So I think that would ruin probably AI's reputation down the line, and maybe is doing it right now. And but yeah, in fact, maybe that's a fun fact. Maybe it isn't. But I'm talking to you through a mic now that is attached to something called a looping station.
Oh yeah,
The reason for that is my mic is analog. I can't just plug it into the computer. But the looping station is something. Now, I'm a beatbox fan. The guys who make the rhythm with their mouths.
indeed.
And so I'm not very good at it, but I dabble in it. And I saw a competition between beatboxers, and they were using these machines that allow you to record your voice or or melody or rhythm, and then it has several channels, and it loops the sound that you recorded. And so you can you record your beats, you can record your melody, you can record some percussions and whatnot. You can stop them, play them, change the levels, use some effects on them, maybe exaggerate the bass line or anything like that. So I thought this was great. So before I left America, I bought one of those things and I play with it for fun. But again, it's a piece of tech that I had no idea existed. I don't know what you can really do with it. I guess musicians can also plug in some instruments and it can help them with live performances. But again, this is a piece of tech that didn't exist and now it's here and it's accessible to me. And so I just bought one and I play with it for fun. So yeah, I'm not super nerdy, but I like gadgets. That's I guess the shorter way to put it is I'm a gadget guy.
Yeah, good stuff. Yes, yes. Or so much there. And I'm thinking like, so it's interesting, Bulgaria doctors back in the day, it was a bit like US open mics, right? You had to just walk in and put your name down and see if you get up on the
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Never made the connection before.
Just to saw a little analogy there. Interesting, you mentioned beatbox. We had Sang Don Park on the show, and he's like a competitor. And he focuses on comedy now, but he certainly spent many years doing beatboxing, and that's. I mean, I always really. I mean, he kind of like he always says it's like kind of hacky, like he doesn't. I don't know. I love it when he beatboxes. It's very very impressive. Yeah, yeah. And you were saying about AI scams. Yeah, I mean, could you give me your bank details? You can imagine that this is like a huge phishing operation. Like basically, I'm completely AI generated. We get hapless comedians on the podcast just to get them to reveal their bank details. That would be a pretty impressive scam, if only. Yeah, yeah, good
Might work
stuff.
too. It might work too.
If we could do it real enough. I mean, not that any of these comedians have got any money, so it's probably the wrong target audience. You wanna try and go for some of those people who I don't know, sports people
Right.
who makes money. I don't know who makes money these days. But yeah, and then but you mentioned recording. audio from your comedy shows, rarely listening to it back or what have you. Is the process whereby you come up with your jokes, is that, you know, some we've had, I think it was Scott, oh, I'm gonna get his name wrong. Madly had, I always think his name is like Truly Madly Deeply. And then
Mhm.
we had on the show, I can't find him. It's Scott. He's got like three names and it's confusing. I've gone further back. Where am I? See, we've had now sufficient number of people on the show that I'm completely confused about who had come on in what order, and I can't find him at all. Why can't I find him? Must be there. Scott Manley Hadley. He's so manly and he's so Hadley. Scott Manley Hadley was talking about he would go for long walks with his dog and he'd be sort of just like sort of saying it out loud. Other people talk about, you know, saying it in the mirror. Other people are sort of taking, you know, notes into a notebook or notes in the phone or what have you. Where do your comedy ideas come from, and how do you then, you know, move them down the production line before they actually, you know, they become one of your regular bits?
Right. What we did, the method changed with time. Initially, I started writing on a piece of paper in a notebook, and I was trying to perfect the I guess the wording, because I was still nervous. I hadn't find my voice at the time, so I just thought, I'm still the foreign guy. I want to make sure that when I pronounce things, there, the grammar is correct and all that. And I found that that's not necessarily improving the quality of your material. And what I eventually moved to was I will have an idea or a thought, and I'll try to explore it in my head. Keep in mind I was still a truck driver at the time, so I had
Mm.
plenty of alone time to think about things. And so ideas might come from whatever, something I watched, something I've seen, or a feeling that I had, or I remember a weird situation that was awkward. Anything that I find peculiar, I would start thinking about. So almost as if I'm doing improv in my own head. I'll
Mm.
grab the idea and I'll start thinking about it, and I'll develop these scenarios, or sometimes I might develop even a dialogue between two people. This person says this, and this person says that, and making a little scene in my head, and some phrases um, or particular sayings or twists might come about, and I'll thought, oh, this might. I have a feeling this might be funny if I say it, and also I'll start memorizing these bits, and gradually I'll put them in order. So now this is all happening in my head still.
Mm.
I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to start with this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to move to that, and I'll say this cool thing afterwards, and I'll just play it in my head for a while. And when I go on stage, I'll just try to replicate what I was thinking about, because I really wanted whatever I say to sound like I just made it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
by not rehearsing it, it gives you that feeling of improvising it. But
Mm.
the trap here is that you might thought this was cool in your head, and then you hear yourself say it, and go, no, that was not cool at all. That was not funny. What was I thinking? And so also, depending on what you're doing, oftentimes you have to wait for a couple hours to get on stage. Maybe you have a couple of beers, and so maybe the wording mashes up in your head, or maybe you're
Mm-hmm.
nervous, and you screw up the order of the thing, so you forget a tag. But it's so fine. Again, it's you're practicing, so nothing at stake. So yeah, I've bombed on stage most of the time, but eventually I come up with something sooner or later that get me some response. And so yeah, the process became just think about things and put them in order in my own head. And for the show that I mentioned earlier that I decided to record,
Right, right.
um, I did unintentionally, really, but a form of visualization. You know how
Oh yeah.
uh, people talk about visualizing things, and what we call it, manifesting things,
Uh-huh.
which to me sounds goofy, but But I was kind of doing it without even noticing because when you decide to do something that is difficult and you feel like you're not prepared enough, uh, or maybe this is the type of person I am, I try to play different scenarios in my head, things that can
Uh-huh.
go wrong so that I can predict. But when you start thinking about how things will happen, eventually you start visualizing how the whole performance will happen.
Right.
And also at some point you start thinking or visualizing how things will go great, and all of a sudden you start having these emotions. All of a sudden, oh my god, I'm doing it, oh my god, people love me. And it's all in your head, right? A good thing I was alone in my apartment, otherwise people might thought I was nuts. uh,
Uh-huh.
but I was kind of replaying parts of the stand-up routine that I was gonna do in my head, and I was kind of visualizing, trying to sense how the audience would react. And to be to be honest, I got surprised that some parts of what I was visualizing in the weeks before actually happened
Yeah.
on stage when I delivered some of the bits. So who knows? Maybe visualization is not so goofy that it sounded to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And but that's so I'm really interested in what you're saying about the, the improv in your head and you're sort of developing the thing, also the visualization. But so for that 1 hour comedy show, I mean, you had been doing like, bits and keeping them fresh and but you would I think you said before you kind of for that 1 hour you took stuff that you kind of had some confidence that it was working. That had you just kind of like kept a memory of which bits that worked, and you just when you did that hour, it was just I'm going to replay those things, or had you written out on paper or in a electronic document to say, oh, I'm going to do a bit of this and a bit of this and tweaked the order, or
Yeah, so I did have a set list. So
yeah,
I would name the whatever the bits were, whatever the thing would remind me of what the bit is.
yeah,
So once I do it a couple of times, I know the order, I know
yeah,
the wording, so I don't have to replay that. But yeah, I because these are scattered stories and jokes that I've done in throughout the years. um, I didn't want this to be kind of random thoughts. I wanted to have some sort of a big beginning and
right.
flow to it until we get to the conclusion. So, yes, for that show, I actually sat down and I decided which bits would go into the show. And I put a set list. I put the order of how I'm gonna start, what I'm gonna transition to, how I'm gonna close. So all of that I did. And now, in terms of rehearsing it, I might have gone, I don't remember, I might have gone through the set purely to see how long it would be. Because
Mm,
to me, it was crucial that it's not too short. Because I thought, what's the point then? If it's like, if I have 30 minutes of material,
right.
I might as well not do it. So
Mm,
I thought if I had 45 minutes or more, it's worth trying it. And
mm,
so I might have replayed this almost like in a fast forward kind of way, but trying to keep a tempo going to get a gauge of how long this would be. And I've done this actually with shorter bits when I would do open mics, because for those who don't know, you're given 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to perform, and you should wrap it up by the time your time is up. Otherwise, it's unprofessional. People might not
yeah.
you, the producers, and so for that, only for that reason, I would kind of sit down and go through the bit at least once, and
Mm,
I'll time it and I'll see, okay, I have like 30 extra seconds. Maybe if I slow down, maybe if I get a reaction from the audience, maybe I'll stop to, enjoy the laughter and stuff. Okay, I'll be fine. If I go over 10, 15 seconds, that's fine. And so I'll try to gauge it that way. But other than that, I don't really rehearse it.
No, cool. Very, very cool. Good stuff. Well, really loving hearing all the details there. Shall we slide on to the next question, which is about which people have had the biggest impact on your life and comedy? And often at this point in the show, a lot of people will have mentioned during their origin story, people who've had an impact. And you've already mentioned a few names of, people that you're you enjoyed, such as Pablo Francisco and Russell Peters and Louis C.K. Um, and you mentioned your friend who originally took you to the acting class and so on. Is there anybody else that you would like to shout out as having had a really big impact on your life and comedy, whether from your friends and family or from the open mic circuits or other stellar luminaries?
Yeah, I mean, in life, there's various people that you meet throughout the years that impact your life in various ways. So obviously, start with your parents. I'm happy to say that I have a very good relationship with mine. And of course, I've been abroad for a while, so our world views are different. Not only generationally, but the times that they grew up and the environment they grew up in. And I went into the modern world, so now I'm trying to whatever I learned, I try to pass it on to them, almost like a reverse roles of me teaching them things
Hmm.
they don't know.
Hmm.
Uh, but my parents are great. I think my dad has a knack for being funny. I think he's the I guess the funny link in the family. He likes telling jokes and stuff. The problem right now is that I've heard all of his jokes. Sometimes he'll start telling me a joke. I'm like, yeah, he told me this joke 22 years ago. I still remember. And so my parents are, they're great. In terms of my friends, I kind of, again, I mean, I can socialize, but I'm kind of a closed off person. I don't like to go and make friends out of nowhere. But then the friends that I make and those who I really mash with, click with, I cherish them a lot. So uh, people like my friend took me to the acting classes. My friend who came with me on my first open mic, which is
Mm, mm,
different. Um, and some of my friends they came and saw my shows, not the open mics, but some of the
mm.
shows actually had an audience. They came in, supported me, and they told me I'm great, and I did good. I mean, not great, but I did well. My friends are not,
Yeah.
not overly positive, but
Mm.
that's good. It's good that they give you a good assessment. If
Yeah,
someone just
support.
blows smoke at some point, you wouldn't have the correct assessment of what your level of competency is, whatever
Mm,
it is.
mm, mm,
Uh, but I'll always find people, even at my work, that was not related to comedy in the UK. One of my managers uh, really taught me a lot about the business and how to manage correctly. And he promoted me twice in a span of 3 or 4 years. And I start, in business now. I feel very confident that I'm competent in as a manager, and just purely because of him and because of the good example that he gave me. So we're friends to this day, even though I left the business last year. And in terms of comedians that I really kind of impacted my style of comedy, um, not all the comedians that I enjoy had an impact on the way I
mm,
perform. Now,
mm,
Pablo Francisco, Russell Peters, I like them, but I mentioned this earlier. I didn't think that I possessed the skills they have
mm.
to do comedy the way they did. But I would say Louis C.K. is probably the biggest. I was pretty much trying to mimic him when I started. The way he speaks and he'll say things like man. But eventually, I discovered Bill Burr. He's still one of my favorite
Yeah,
comedians now. I stole from him the leaning on the mic stand because I didn't know what to do with my free hand.
right.
For the longest time, I was leaning on the thing just to have something somewhere to put my hand. And I also enjoyed the courage that he has. He just shows up and says something weird, and the audience reacts not positively. He would just start laugh maniacally, like.
Mm, 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 mm,
But he's still charming. He doesn't appear evil. He's
mm.
so you some things that comedians do would resonate with you, or they'll make an impression on you. Try and you try them afterwards.
Yeah.
So from him, I enjoyed his demeanor on stage, the way he delivers material. I enjoyed Mark Maron.
Oh yeah.
I think he's underrated. His latest stuff, I'm not too much of a fan of, but a couple of his specials were really good. From
Mm.
him, I stole Sitting on the Stool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Since I discovered Mark Maron, I'm not standing up. I'm doing sit down comedy. I sit on
Mm-hmm.
the stool. I feel very comfortable, grounded, and I feel more confident. I just this little
Mm-hmm.
mechanical element changed the way I deliver. And so George Carlin was a big. I'm a big fan of. I would say Dave Chappelle. It
Mm-hmm.
was pretty good. In, I've been following him from since his return back to
Mm-hmm.
comedy. I enjoy his confidence, the way he delivers things, and the things that that I learned from him was you if you want a story, if you have a story to tell or a point to make, just make it and don't worry about how funny it is. You can delay the laughter at the end of the bit, and that's okay. For as long as you have the ability to tell the story in a compelling way, the
Mm-hmm.
audience will be with you. So that also uh, changed the way I would approach things. Because it will make me less nervous. Because now I thought I'm not chasing the laughter. I have a thing to tell you, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a quick shout out to Dave Attell. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
lot of shows, but he has one that I would occasionally rewatch. It's called Roadwork.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you can find it anywhere these days. I don't know what platform's on, but I've may or may not have downloaded it through one of them websites.
Uh-huh.
And I have it on my phone even. So he's a very he just surprises you with the things that he
Yeah.
says. He starts about a weird topic and he just twists it. And it's weird and it's funny, and you're not completely sure why
Yeah.
this is funny, but it just works. So, yeah, a bunch of comedians. I mean, from the UK, I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais, as most people, but also Eddie Izzard.
Oh yeah.
Eddie Izzard, I learned about him. I was taking a voice and speech class,
Mm.
which was also paired with dialects class. Now, once you get into performing, you realize, okay, stand-up's fine, but if you want to do acting roles, you gotta you gotta have the American accent. No one's gonna cast you to play an American man, and then you speak in the Eastern European accent. So I thought, let me try. I didn't succeed, but the experience of the class was great to me. So they were teaching us the standard American accent, the standard British accent, also Irish accent, and the Southern, American Southern states
Mm.
kind of
Mm.
accent. So when the teacher was about to teach us about the standard British or standard, yeah, I guess that's what it's called, standard British
Sure.
accent, she wanted to give us an example, and she played a bit from Eddie Izzard
Uh,
on this TV in the classroom. So that's how I discovered him, and this is a totally different style. He would do 2 hours, and he would riff
yeah.
and he'll do the goofy characters. And again, this is one thing that I couldn't master well, but I wish I do one day. Is he would create several characters and play a scene in
Mm.
them, and he would do the voices of each of the characters. And even though the voices might not be drastically different, they're all believable to be different characters. I
Right.
don't know
Right.
how he's doing it. One of his favorite bits that I think is somewhat genius, I guess, is called Latin language.
Right.
Uh, it is about how the Latin language was so complicated that just to get a message out, you have to go through all this crazy grammar
Right.
and all the rules. And he will go, how did they conquer the world by not being able to communicate effectively? And he will create another scene of the
Yeah.
message and saying to the Caesar there that they're being attacked. And he goes through 10 minutes of stumbling across the ground. But the way he does it is so clever because he doesn't speak Latin. He would just create a sentence and you will insert words from a different language, like one
Yes.
Italian word, one German, one British, one
Yes.
English,
Yes.
and again, it's believable.
Yes.
So shout out to Eddie Izzard, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now,
No, I'm a huge fan of
yeah,
Eddie Izzard
I,
and or Susie Izzard as she now is, and but also you mentioned Mark Maron and David Tell and Bill Burr are all big favorites of mine. Yeah, I've listened to everything that will as long as they get on Spotify. I mean, David Tell only has one thing on Spotify. Mark Maron has almost all of his albums on there. It's anyway, but yeah, yeah, no, lots of great people. I was just also leaping back. I remember you were saying that you're really you were less interested in social media because you're not really in it for the fame. You want the respect. Personally, I want it all. I want the respect and the fame and the money and the and the sex. Anyway, I'll have it all if it's on offer. It's usually not, but yeah, brilliant. Well, what a fantastic series of shout outs. Yeah, that brings us right on to our next. Oh, well, it's our penultimate. It is the pen before the ultimate. The one before the ultimate question is about how drugs affect your perception of reality. And as I'm at pains to point out here, drugs. I mean, big tent drugs. I mean, obviously, people you say drugs, people are like, oh, it must mean illegal psychotropic drugs. But ADHD medication is a drug. Vodka, caffeine. These are all kinds of drugs. We've had people talk about all sorts of substances on the show, whether it be their struggles with chocolate or with heroin. It's and everything in between. And of course, I should say, just because someone had a good or bad experience on something on this show doesn't mean that you, dear listeners, will have the same. Please be very, very careful out there. Particularly if you're already on prescription medication or anything else. Mixing your drugs can lead to unexpected results. But yeah, how is it for you, Dimitar? Is your body a temple? Are you busy trying to alter your perception of reality with different kinds of substances? How is it? How is it all working out?
uh, I would say I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not a heavy drug guy, but yeah, in terms of medication, well, since I was a little kid, I had an asthma. So in terms of the medications, the inhalers that everybody seemed to know about, they were not available in Bulgaria when I was a kid. So when I
Mm.
had an asthma attack, my mom would have to give me a pill, and then I have to wait for it to kick in for like 30, 40 minutes. And during that time, you're struggling to breathe. And so once these steroid, whatever they call them,
Mm.
inhalers came along, that changed my life completely. So you just spray this thing and the asthma attack is over with. And so in terms of medical stuff, this has been great for me. Luckily for me, as I grew in my teenage years, I started working out. I did some martial arts in my high school years, and that really helped me develop my lungs, and my lung capacity expanded quite a lot, and that helped with my asthma attacks. And right now I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually smoking cigarettes,
Oh my goodness.
which is terrible. I started late with all the substances. Maybe coffee I started when I was in high school, which is, I don't really count that anymore. But I never did any drugs. Now my family, we're from a small town in the middle of Bulgaria. It's called Gabrovo. It's named after a type of tree that's in the area. So we're in the kind of mountainous region. Um, the Balkan Mountains. This is a big mountain chain that comes all the way from Serbia, I suppose, and gets all the way almost to the Black Sea, and it kind of
Mm.
splits Bulgaria in half. So I'm just on the north side of that ridge. And it's kind of almost the dead middle of the country, northwest and
Mhm.
northwest, north, south, east, west.
Universe, yeah.
Yeah, and so, well, so I grew up in a smaller kind of town. So and also my parents, they have a house in the outskirts of town. So for us, it was my neighborhood's always been pretty calm. I had a few buddies of mine who are my age that I grew up with. My school was not far away, still in the neighboring neighborhood, but I never got involved in anyone who deals drugs or anything like that. Now in Bulgaria, it is very common for people to drink alcohol and to start doing it early,
Hmm.
uh, like 13, 14, you booze it,
Hmm.
right? Now, my mom's always been kind of protective of me because I was, a sickening kid
Right.
when I was younger. So I think it took me a while to start going out. I think I might have been 16, 17 when I started going out to bars and whatnot. And in the Western world, that's still young, right?
Hmm.
In Britain, what is it, 18? You're allowed to drink, and in America, it's 21.
Right.
But in Bulgaria, the kids, no one checks your ID. We don't. Now they don't, and back in the day when I was 17 years old, no one cares. You
Right.
walk up, you order vodka, whatever you want, and they'll give it
Right.
to you as long as you have money. And
Hmm.
I'm not a big drinker. Obviously, when you're young, you drink because you have no self-esteem and you wanna talk to girls and you don't know how, so you get the drinks in you. But generally, when I grew older, I I don't enjoy drinking as much. Maybe a couple of beers, or
Yeah.
I like gin and tonic. That's my drink of choice when
Uh-huh.
especially in the UK, which is a popular drink there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worked out. Um, but I never did anything outside of that until I was maybe 30, 31. I'm 41 now. So I started comedy when I was 28. So just for perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went into to the States, uh, I went on a what you call it, a culture exchange or student
Oh
exchange
yeah.
kind of program, which is you're in the uni, and during the summer break, you go to another country like America, and you work for 3, 4 months, and then you go
Hmm.
back and you go back to school.
Right.
So what I what I did, which was again unplanned, is I overstayed my visa.
Mm.
Me and a bunch of other people. And the reasoning is more complicated. We never intended to do it. It was just the work that they gave us for those 3 months sucked, and it didn't pay well. So a bunch of us just quit. And we try to find another job, but because we have visa for the remaining whatever 2 months, no one would hire us, and so we were
Mm.
all losing money at the time. It was expensive to go to America from
Yeah.
Bulgaria. My cousin who lives in the UK, he gave me a loan, if you would,
Right.
uh, in order to afford to go. And the idea
Mm.
was to make the money up, you pay him back, and then you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
for the next school year. And so that didn't happen. I was losing money the whole time. So a bunch of us who were on the same program, we just said, man, we can't just go back. We would be in debt, and we didn't enjoy this time. So let's at least stay a little longer to make the money up. So when we
Uh-huh.
go back, at least it's worth coming here.
Yeah.
That was the line of thinking. We were like 20 years old, 21.
Yeah.
So we didn't know better. So a bunch of us stayed. And so anyway, we moved to Chicago. We were originally meant to work in Orlando, Florida. So we were photographers at Walt Disney's one of their water parks,
Okay.
taking pictures and giving people these wristbands. Hopefully, they'll come by the shop at the end of the day,
Right. Right.
buy the pictures for absorbent amount of like $25 for
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
So we moved to Chicago, right? And I'm living with these people. I know them for a couple of months now, but all of a sudden they figure out how to get weed,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And at the time, I've never smoked. I never seen weed. I don't know what it looks like.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it smells like. I heard it existed, but everybody was surprised that I told them that. They go, "You never smoke?" I'm like, no. They go, we smoke. All of us we smoked for a while now. We
Uh-huh.
even know how to recognize people who probably know where to buy it. So that's how we got this guy who sold us
Yeah.
some weed.
Yeah. Mm.
And I go, my man, I felt like I was a Mormon or something. I had no idea, but because all these people that were with me, they are from bigger cities in Bulgaria, and they're more of like or in an urban
Yeah.
apartments. We know the what you call it, the flat building,
Apartments. Yeah, yeah.
and that's where you really get exposed to a lot of those vices, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I smoked with my roommates for the first time. It was probably the first year I was in the States, but I never did it for maybe 7, 8 years because I started driving trucks. And if you drive
Mm.
trucks, you're also subject to random drug testing.
Well, okay.
So you don't even play with it. I'm trying to make a living. So
Right, right.
and also, I from one time trying it, you can't decide if you like it or not. So you don't really care if you do it or you don't.
Yeah.
But when I started doing comedy, and then I got exposed to more and more people who were doing it, and uh, I got into weed.
Oh, yeah.
I started kind of on a regular to buy from this guy, and at some point I thought I should get high and go on stage,
Uh-huh.
just if I can go through it, because I would imagine it would be confusing and stressful. But then I thought if I go through it, then this is like a superpower you have.
Okay.
No one can shake you, right? When you're on stage, then and you're gonna crush it. If imagine if I crush when I'm under influence, then if I'm sober, I'm gonna completely crush it.
Mhm.
And so I thought I would do it. And there was this place that I would go every Wednesday near where I lived in the suburbs of Chicago. There was an open mic in this weird bar. But I was regular there, so I knew the people, I knew the staff, I knew the guy who's hosting, and the other comedians. They're all the same.
Mhm.
It's like it's not the city of Chicago. It's in the suburbs, so there's not a lot of places. So those who live in the suburbs, they go to the same bar to do comedy.
Mhm.
And so I show up. For this particular place, you had to sign up. You call the bartender on the phone, really, and say, "Hey, it's me. I'm coming to do the comedy. Put me on the list," and they'll put you on the list, right? And and I do that, and I show up, and it's super busy. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people at the bar. The bartender's flying around, and I go, "Hey, what's going on?" And they go, "Oh, we have an event. Uh, go to the back door, and at the parking lot, there's this big, almost like a circus tent,
Mhm.
and go in there, and the comedians are in there."
Mhm.
So I go, and I look at this. It's a tent. There's a stage. There's audience, and there's a guy dressed as a clown on stage, and and he's doing stand up for some reason.
Mhm.
And I look at one of the other comedians. They go, "Hey man, what is going on? We usually are like 5 people here, and
Uh-huh.
there's." He goes, "Oh yeah, there'll be a like a special performance. This is like a circus. What you call it? The people who juggle
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah. The
Jug,
jugglers. Yeah.
yeah, he would do a performance, and so our open mic would be the opening act for the actual show."
Oh, wow.
So he tells me all of that, and as he's telling me this, the clown guy on stage goes, "And the next comedian is Dimitar Ilchev," and I go, "Oh crap! I had no time to process this. I'm still high. I don't
Yeah.
know who this clown guy is. Never seen him before. He's never hosted. There's real audience who I guess paid money to see things."
Yeah, yeah.
And I go on stage, and I thought, that was a bad idea. That I shouldn't have done this. And then I thought, how am I supposed to approach this? And I thought, I'll be honest. I'll tell them how I feel.
Right.
And I thought, well, this man, this is not what I expected. I thought that would be two comedians, and
Yeah.
we chill. I got high, and I come here and see you, and you look at me, and you have expectations, and I don't know if I'm gonna live up to that. And I'm getting laughs. People are loving this. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm improvising for about a minute or two, and people love it. And then I go, okay, I'm getting this. So I got into my pre-written material,
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't laugh as much.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
crap! I should have kept the honesty going. But it was all right. It was all right. I got through it, and I had this exhilarating kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got through it. I got confused, and I was scared, and I didn't know what to say, but I figured what to say, and I got laughs. That's
Yeah.
great. And so I've done it. I've been high on stage times after that, but it's not as good. It's in terms of doing the work. If you just
Uh-huh.
goof around, who cares? But if you really intend to build material,
Mm.
that's not good. And it's not good to go and drink while you're waiting, and because
Uh-huh.
also alters your perspective if you stumble your words. And if you're really serious about doing this as an art form, you should be treating this as work. So
Mm.
you should be as focused, sober, and with a purpose when you go to those places. Now, if you want to goof around, maybe not waste people's time
Mm.
because of your own, you can get drunk or high with your friends and not do comedy in front of audience that yes, maybe they have low expectations, but there are some expectations still. So I wouldn't recommend this to any comedian to do it, even
Uh,
though I've seen people do comedy on acid or what, and it didn't work well. Um,
yeah.
so, just to wrap up about the weed thing, it works for me. Um,
Uh-huh.
I actually prefer it to alcohol.
Okay.
I know it's illegal most places. The places that is legal, if I go to a place like in the Netherlands, in
Yeah.
Spain, legal, like in the Czech Republic, I would get high. I would go and
Yeah.
have some, and I would enjoy it. It works for me. For my personality, I'm a thinking kind of guy,
Yeah.
so this thing just gives me more things to think about, and
Okay.
it calms me down. I have the Bulgarian syndrome of negativity all
Mm.
of the time, which not all Bulgarians are negative, but a lot of us are kind of low self-esteem and thinking that everybody's out to get us because
Mm.
just because of our history, we kind of jaded in that way. But for me, this thing calms me down and gives me kind of a positive outlook,
Oh,
and it
really?
gives ideas. Oh, these things don't work. The things not working out right now, but now look
Mm.
what I can do. If I can do this and this and that, maybe this will work out. And I have these ideas about how I can deal with my problems. So in that sense, it works for me. Obviously, in Bulgaria, it's highly illegal. Uh,
Mm.
so what are you gonna do? You just don't do it. But I would say, as a what you call it, public service advice, you should not do anything in excess, and
No.
if
Mm.
you don't enjoy it, don't do it. There's no bravery. There's no
Mm.
um, there's no courage in doing things that you don't enjoy just
Mm.
so you know you fit in or anything like that. And that's why a lot of people do ecstasy and cocaine, and so we go to bars and everybody's doing it and you feel like obligated to do it, and it might not be for you. And for me, I don't enjoy all of these. I would enjoy some psychedelic experience. I've been to Amsterdam, I've done some mushrooms, I've done LSD in the States, and it might be intense, and it's not for every day. You maybe do it a couple of times in your life, see if you can get some useful out of it. And let me share with you, because I mentioned this at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
My approach to you either do something or you don't do it,
Mm.
and it came from my trip on LSD.
Oh, yeah.
In a weird way, it came to me this. I mean, it was not like a crazy revelation. It's a simple approach,
Mm.
but
Mm.
sometimes you don't connect the dots, even if you know what things are. It doesn't ring true to you until it suddenly does. So some guy gave me some LSD. Right, so I'm at home, not working, safe, and I'm doing it, and I'm playing this video game, the FIFA, the football game,
Mm.
right, and it starts to kick in, but I'm still playing it, and I'm trying to get this player, Mo Salah, right? I'm trying to
Okay.
get Mo Salah on my team, but because he's a good player, he's very expensive, and it costs a lot of virtual FIFA money to get him. And I go, man, I can't get Mo Salah now. I have to think about someone else that I can afford to put in my team. So this is all goofy stuff, nothing spectacular. But all of a sudden, something kicks in my head, and I go, "What the hell are you talking about? you can't afford him, and now you're just gonna give up, and like there's no other way. You just gotta think of the cheap option, and then screw you. You're never gonna get more Salah in your team. You're just gonna give up. Is that the kind of person you are? And all of a sudden I get up and and I go and start talking to myself, sometimes out loud, and I'll go in and I clean the kitchen. And the whole time I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm thinking, what kind of person am I? Am I a guy who just things get tough and you just give up? What is this the way to go through life? If you want something, you're not even gonna attempt to get it. You're just gonna give up and say, "No, I can't get it." So, is that how low your self-esteem is? If you want something, get it done. So, if you want something, do it. If you don't want it, don't do it. So, if you're gonna do something, go for it or don't attempt it at all. And so I kept referring this, I kept repeating this almost as a mantra. You either do it or you don't do it. You either do it or you don't do it. And I went back to this game. I don't remember what I did, sold off my team or whatever. I got enough,
Uh,
got the player I wanted, Mo Salah, put him in the team, and I go, hey, there you go. That's how you get things done. And
right.
that's how I'm gonna go forward. If something is important to me, I'll chase it and I'll get it. If something is not important to me, I'm not gonna stress about it. So it helped me with some mundane things. Sometimes it doesn't happen a lot in the UK, but in Bulgaria it does. You're waiting in line, you're on a queue at the store, and somebody cuts in, right? And then your ego goes, I gotta tell this person off. You don't be cutting in the queue. What's what? But But then you feel obligated. You almost have that. You're ready for a confrontation.
Uh,
That even if you win, it's not going to feel good because not, no, the confrontation is usually not pleasant to any of the parties. But then I would approach this in my new kind of mentalities. If you cut in front of me now, if I'm not in a rush to get to the register, then I don't care. I'll let you cut in. But
uh,
if I'm in a rush, if I need to get there quick because I have another thing, then I will remove you from the queue. No matter what I'm gonna do, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk to you, push you, whatever it is they
yeah.
gotta do. Call the cops on you. You moving out of the queue. But then if it's not important to me, yeah, cut in, screw it. I don't care.
Mm,
And so in these kind of small social instances where your ego kind of, oh, you're not a man enough if you don't tell them off. This kind of stress, it's eliminated for me.
right.
I don't, I'm much more relaxed. Again, this is not magic. I don't go and pop LSD to fix your problems, but sometimes through those experiences, you might find a little small thing that works for you, and eventually that feeling will wear off, but then you remember that you had it, so you can always bring it back consciously this time.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's where I am with drugs. I enjoy the weeds, the other stuff. I would dabble into, but only because I'm a thinking type of person. So I like the drug to affect my line of thinking, so I can explore my brain better. The other things I'm not interested in.
yeah, great. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. There's a lot of wisdom in there, and well, I think you may be the first person to have perhaps already answered the ultimate question in your answer to the penultimate question, because well, which we could just throw in there for a bonus. Like, yeah, like the ultimate question is, what does it all mean? This life, this universe, and everything beyond it being 42, as some people say. But the yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in, if you have any religious or philosophical or atheist, or we had Penelope V on the podcast last week talking about, how, she's sort of from a Christian background. We had Amalia Fuadi talking about her Islamic background. We've had a lot of atheists. We've had a lot of, we've had the born again Christian. Yeah, and it's like I suspect you won't struggle with the big question because you're like a natural thinker. But if you prefer not to answer the big question, you can just talk about what life means to you rather than like what is the meaning of all the things. We actually had philosopher Gil Gibbons telling us that meaning can only be imposed from outside, and since the universe is the biggest thing and there's nothing outside it, it can't have a meaning. But yeah, where do you sit on what this is all going on? Are we in some sort of strange simulation or dreams in the mind of God?
See, the the truthful answer is I don't know enough to be sure about anything really. I personally am not religious. My parents are in Bulgaria. Christianity is the main religion. But Bulgarians are not very deep into it. It's kind of like almost like a comfort thing. Oh, I'm gonna do the cross before I leave the house, just so nothing bad happens. And on certain holidays, I'll go to church and I'll do the thing. Um, to me, church never spoke to me. I felt weird and creepy in churches. I would say I'm non-religious, whatever that means, an atheist, I suppose. But I don't have any strong points of view. uh, so maybe I'm agnostic. Who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't categorize myself because I have no interest in that discussion, really.
Mm.
Um, I would say everybody sees the world through the prism of their own mind, and their mind is shaped by the experiences that they had. So I would say if religion helps you cope with problems, or gives you hope, or it gives you courage, or it gives you motivation, by all means, just do it. You can believe in just these big ideas, or you can believe in small things. Some people have to flick the light switch 3 times to get
Right.
the demons out. Everybody has their own weird beliefs. They might be
Mm.
very simple. They might be very general and grandiose, and to describe their own existence. But it's all in everyone's own mind. So I would say whatever you believe in, just go ahead and do it, man. As long as it helps you. If it bothers you, or if it's not helpful to you, just get rid of it. Get another thought, get another belief. Because at the end of the day, all you strive for is to go through life in relevant comfort, to have some motivation, to have good people around you, to feel happy, to feel like you have a purpose, whatever that purpose might be. Some people find purpose in business, or their achievements, or in sports accolades. Some people find meaning in their family. Because at the end of the day, what's the meaning of life? We just exist. We're just biological forms that go through a cycle. Our cells divide until one day they don't, and that's it. So while you have that conscious existence, just do what you want with it, as long as I would say, just try to be helpful to people. You don't necessarily have to go out of your way to save, but just in your life, just be cool. I guess. And then whatever it is that you believe in, you don't impose it on others. Just cherish it, and hopefully it gets you through hard times. That's all that is, in my opinion.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, I think you heard it here for first, folks. Be cool, be helpful, be good. Brilliant stuff. Dimitar, it's been a fantastic conversation. The words have just rolled by us. I suspect that our millions of listeners, riveted as they've been, are starting to get all antsy, wanting to know where they can see your comedy, how they can follow you online. What do you want to tell the folks about how they should consume your comedic joy?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to engage with anybody interested. I am on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Dimitar Ilchev Comedy. You just gotta get the spelling of my name right. On Instagram, my tag is Dilchev, my first letter and my last name, so Dilchev. Um, and if you want to see the show that we mentioned earlier, it is on YouTube. It is very much free, and uh, yeah, I think you have to click that you're 18 years or older to watch it, just because there is some explicit language. It's not too bad, as I said, but we don't want to piss anybody off. If you like the show, you like it. If you don't, you don't. What can I do? So the show is called Dimitar Ilchev, Searching for Common Sense, and it's on YouTube. If you use the search bar, I'm sure you'll find it. I'll be happy if any of the listeners give it a shot. Maybe you enjoy it. It is a unique type of performance, not only because of the circumstances that I kind of push through it before its time, but also the way it's filmed. It's filmed very simply with two cameras. It's one show, so nothing's been really edited apart from the switching between the cameras. You see the entire show as it happened, as the audience saw it. So you will see some of the good moments. You'll see some of the awkward moments. Some moments that my jokes didn't land, and I tried to improvise some additional tagline to bring the audience along. So, in that sense, it's a unique experience because it's as realistic as a film show can be, because it shows really um, pretty much the perspective of the audience, and the way we filmed it, we kept it really intimate. The camera is mostly on me. So if you get into it, you might get the sense that you're in the audience really watching the show live. And because of the low budget, that's one of the downsides. But I think it created a unique product in that sense. Is the show good? Who knows? You got to give it a try. If you like it, I'll be very happy. If you don't, sorry. But yeah, it's called Searching for Common Sense, and it's on YouTube.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, we'll get links to your Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube things in the show notes so that people can definitely find those if they're keen to, which they should be after listening to you. And well, thanks everyone. And remember, you can help support comedians or technology people and drugs by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts and or by following us on Spotify. Please do follow us on Spotify because that gets us out into other people's brains. And you can ask questions and add comments there. We'd love to hear from you on all things, and we really look forward to being in your ears again. Oh, gosh, screwed that up completely. I'll try that again. And we really look forward to being in your ears again soon. I was distracted by, of course, we've got also our Joke Wranglers podcast. That is, we've got our two teams of comedians competing to come up with the best jokes in a series of rounds. You should definitely check that out as well. But here we go. Finally, it is last word to our fantastic guest, Dimitar Ilchev.
All right, my last word. I'll make it a phrase or a sentence, I guess. I'm not aiming to be inspirational, but this will be in line with what I said earlier. I would say try to keep your ego in check. Your ego might get you in trouble. And if you master your ego, you really gonna be in control of yourself, and then you become better to yourself, better to others, and be cool. That's it.